Imagine blending the sounds of ancient island traditions with neo-soul electronic music. Hello everybody, welcome to my studio. My name's Ribongia. I'm an Italian-born Australian music producer, now based in Mauritius Island in the beautiful Indian Ocean. Today I want to take you behind the scenes of the music production of our latest single Amen Amwin by my collective Ayozad. This song is a special one for me as it blends the sonorities from the Indian Ocean, and it's rich with melodies and rhythms deeply rooted in the tradition of this region. At the same time, I've blended electronics, synthesizers and textures to keep it cutting edge and contemporary. I will also share some production tips as well as a background story on how the song came to be. Alright, let's dive into the creative process behind the song Amen Amwin. Enjoy! Alright, let's dive straight in. So from memory, the first thing that we started off was the keys. I had a clear plan. So this is during our residency in Reunion. We have a week to create as much as possible. And we had a small rehearsal space that was our sort of writing room. And I had this idea of actually splitting the team. So with me, I had Manu Desroches, who was supposed to be my musician and guitarist. Bastien Picot, who is an incredible singer from Reunion and incredible writer. And Emlyn, of course, our hero from Mauritius. Because I wanted to be as time efficient as possible, I decided to divide the team in two. So my idea was to get a bunch of instrumentals ready to go and then pass them on to the singers that would go off and write lyrics and come up with concepts while me and Manu refined the arrangement of the music. So this is exactly what happened for this song. It was 10 o'clock in the morning. We just rolled in and Manu just came up with these two very simple chords. And it was a D minor to F minor, and I'll show you in a minute. But they sounded like this. Somewhat spooky and sensual, and I don't know, to me they gave me some sort of intriguing kind of sexy vibe. And then I believe we moved on to having a different chord progression that became the pre-chorus, and I really like the down motion that this progression had, and I'll show you in a minute what I mean. But it sounded like this. So beautiful cascade. Now, as you can hear, the sound is quite heavily processed. So let me show you what I had on the keys. So for instance, for starters, the instrument that we used was Soft Piano by Labs. It's a free plugin. Go and grab a copy. They make great sounding stuff. And so I felt that the sound was very muddy, but I did like the fact that it was very soft and subdued. So I EQ'd the bottom end out and added some vintage kind of style effects with this plugin, this RC20 retro color. And as you can see, there's a bit of wobble to imitate, an old cassette tape. In fact, this preset that I ended up modifying is called VHS. It's got a bit of distortion and reverb. Now let's see what that does. So this is without, and this is with. And that was exactly the vibe that we were going for, something a little bit vintage, lo-fi, which is also somewhat in fashion at the moment with lo-fi beats and that kind of stuff. I might have made it a little bit wider. Yes, as you can see, this band here is widened, and then the top end is narrowed. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Maybe a little bit of sidechain, actually quite a bit of sidechain with shaper. And altogether it sounded like this. Under the sun, waiting for you to cross the water, hear my prayer. Voila, and that's the keys. For the chorus, there's a slightly different progression and also a different sound. I in fact recorded, it's a Juno 6 emulation, so that sounds like this. very snappy. And in context, you can also hear heavy Juno chorus. And in context, it sounded like this.
That's how I can feel your energy.
So for my musicians out there, let me show you how that sound, like what are the actual chords that went behind this. So let me show you this right now. So as I was saying, the progression is pretty simple to start off with. We're just going backwards and forwards between this D minor and the minor 7. Sorry, F sharp, F minor 7. So F minor 7 to D. That sort of is the backbone of the verse. And then when we're about to go to the pre-chorus, instead of playing that F minor 7, we resolve to a C. That then takes us beautiful to the first chord of the pre-chorus, which is a B flat. And then from the B flat, let's play here. From the B flat, we go to a D minor, but instead of playing D on the bass, we actually play an A. I was really a fan of this downward motion, as I said. So we're going B flat, major 7, to a D minor over A, to a G minor, to an F. Now the second time around, we play the B flat to D minor over A, G minor, and then we leave it there. And that's the last bar of the pre-chorus. And because we haven't used this F yet, now we had a chord that was sort of naturally coming, like it had this magnetic pull. So we ended up moving that from the fourth beat of the pre-chorus into the first chord of the chorus itself. So this is the first chorus. First chord of the chorus is an F major, then it goes up. So now we're counteracting. So the pre-chorus is all going downwards, and now we're actually climbing up back onto this G minor to D to A, and then we have a B flat, a C, and a D minor back to A. So that's essentially the chords in Amen Amwin. Alright, let's move on to the bass. Okay, so the bass pretty much follows the chords from the piano. Very simple sound. It's like an 808 Aoki serum preset with a little bit of portamento. Let's see what the EQ was doing. Heavily processed. Actually not a whole lot of bottom end, but because I think I left that up to the kick. And yeah, it sounded like this on its own, which is fairly uneventful. But then Manu came out with this lick, which I thought was perfect for our sort of sleazy vibe that we were going for. Check out this line. So the bending of the notes wasn't done with the pitch bender. It's just literally the portamento of the studio, but he sort of played it in with feel, and it did a beautiful job. How sleazy is that? In fact, the working title for the song was Slutty Fairy to begin with, because we were going for something a bit seductive, but, you know, also fooling around a little. So the line climbs up to the D. Sorry, to the D rather. G to A, then G to F, C, and then D. Pre-chorus. It's just following that descending bass on the chords that were descending, and that's about it. For the chorus, so the chorus bass sounds like this. So what I ended up doing for this, which as you know, I'm a piano has become a really extremely popular genre, and the log drum bass is definitely something that's coming up and more in music production. So I thought I'd use it, but not in the sort of amapiano way, but make it a little bit more singable and melodic. So I ended up splitting the bass line in two, and I have the fundamentals falling on the 808. Nothing crazy there. And then the log drum is responding to that line. So essentially arpegging, with a little arpeggio over those chords. So together they sounded like this. And in context,
I can feel your energy.
Pretty groovy if you ask me. Now, let me show you the drums, because obviously the most, at least for me, the thing that we were trying to accomplish here was to take traditional rhythms and melodies and bring them into something a little bit more modern. So my initial thought with this song was to do something a little bit neo soul or R&B, blended with the traditional ternary rhythm of the Indian Ocean. And let me show you what we've done for the drums. So I think it starts fairly simple.
The sun waiting for.
So fairly spark kick, a few rims, and a bit of effect. Now, what I want to talk about is the ternary rhythm, because it's fairly unusual in, let's say, Western music, but it's something that's very prominent in this region, and I think it was also a very unique feature. So as you can see here, I've divided my grid in triplets. So each portion is divided in 8-note triplets. And also, if you look at these two notes, you'll see that my second kick drum here is fairly behind the grid. And if I solo that, it gives you this swing. And maybe I'll show you on the Maravan what I mean by that ternary feel, that and because of that lateness, how groovy the whole thing gets. In fact, if I bring in the snare, you can see every second accent is a little bit late. Every second triplet, I should say, is a little bit behind the beat, and that gives it the Indian Ocean swing. It's their own grooves, like they come from ethnic traditions like Maloya and Sega, and it's a very particularly central rhythm, in my opinion. And in fact, what excites me about being in this part of the world is that there's so much that can be done with these rhythms that have not been explored by other parts of the world. So the idea is to interpollinate this traditional stuff with what is current and modern these days. So yeah, now moving on, let's talk about the percussion, because these were recorded live. These were sort of programmed and bashed in, but the percussion, I think, were mostly played live. Now let's see what we got here. It's been a while. Okay, so we got some shakers and some Ravan. Ravan is this goat skin drum that's played like this, and I believe, actually no, this comes from my splice pack that I made called Sounds in Mauritius. Oh no, pardon, we actually recorded this. Now that by itself sounds a little bit disconnected, but if I put the rest of the drums beneath, it's fairly subtle, but it's a touch of human feel. And also you can hear the shaker playing this ternary rhythm, and you can hear these accents almost fall over one another, and it gives it this groove. And all together the drums sound like this. For the verses, pre-chorus there's sparse, and then the hook is this. And as you can hear here, I've blended a lot of electronic sounds as well as real percussion recorded on the day. We have Maravan, double tracked left and right, conga, which I believe was played by Manu Desroches, great multi-instrumentalist. So we got a 4 on the floor to keep the party going. Weird claps, percussion, few reverb splashes here and there, claps, snaps, and the whole drum section do this. So very lively, nothing too crazy, but very, very groovy indeed. Now, the next thing is the guitar. Now, the guitar, as I said, Manu sort of came up with these chords with the guitar, but then we moved to the keys, and then we wanted to bring back the guitar, but we weren't really sure what to do. And I think while I was working on the chorus, he came up with this line. Actually, let me play it without... Oh, actually... I thought I had more effects on it here, but it's mostly Manu's pedal, which I think is a very cheap middle of the road multi-effects pedal. Nothing crazy, but I remember thinking how lo-fi it sounded, and so we wanted to sort of almost exaggerate that. In fact, you can hear how heavily saturated it was. We cranked as much gain as possible onto it and just recorded it as it is. Just a little bit of EQ, a bit of delay. It's coming back now. To give it a little bit more wideness and dimension. And then another EQ, probably flat. Why is that even there? The mind boggles. Anyway, once Manu had this, I sort of chopped it up and used that as a main hook and responded with this synth. Which was recorded with this puppy right here. Now, let's talk about the vocals. Oh, in fact, before I move on to the vocals, there's another few guitar parts that are quite interesting. And what we ended up doing is fairly interesting, in my opinion. So, we had this bridge section. Let me play it for you. So Manu had this line, plucked with a reverb, and then I doubled it. For some reason it's not playing at all. Why is that? Voila. So then I literally artificially pitched it 12 semitones, so an octave higher, and altogether it sounded like this, which was cutting through the mix a lot more. So in context, and that was the guitar. Now, in terms of vocals, I want to just highlight how talented Bastien and Emlyn are, because they wrote literally the whole song in one morning. And then obviously we tweaked a few things as we started recording, but just the vocals alone I think are just magical.
Under the sun, waiting for you to cross the water, hear my prayer. I'm like a lion watching your every move, oh baby, you're my prey.
So for me, it was very important to pay homage to Maloya. Maloya often has a call and response. And so what I ended up doing is sort of splitting up my, Bastien's verse and having this chant sort of responding to him. Which I think is a combination of a double, a mid and a high. And then Emlyn stacked on top. And also she's doing some interesting harmonies. Oh, this is them together actually. pan to the left, pan to the right. Anyway, the whole thing together sounds like this. And in context.
I'm like a lion watching your every move, oh baby, you're my prey.
Okay, this is all beautiful stuff, but fairly down the middle. But I wanted to highlight Bastien's infinite talent and how well he orchestrated the vocals for the very ending, if I can find it. Okay, here we go. Outro. Now, I believe these were done sort of stack by stack, and what's beautiful about working with him is he's got an incredible knowledge of harmony, and he will literally on the spot orchestrate vocal lines and harmonies, and it's a beautiful thing to witness. Now, I don't remember what was tracked first, but let's maybe start from a middle layer. So there's two of these, pan left and right. Straight up unison. Then we stacked up an octave higher on there. Oh, not quite an octave, a harmony. Now, he was doing all this thing, and he had a very specific idea in mind on how to sort of make it trickle down and expand and move while we went along. So the next layer I think he introduced is this low part, double tracked also. That makes it really full and nice. Now, and while all of that is going on, then he instructed, I think, no, Jason we did remotely because he was not with us on the residency, but he sent me the files from Australia. I think Emlyn added her part next. So with Bastien. Sorry. So you can hear how beautiful that is. Now this was actually tracked on the day as well, which is a more reverberant ghost take. And then Jason sent these, and all together, actually let me play it from the top because it's a beautiful thing in itself. So as you can hear, with a very simple idea, he managed to make it move and expand organically with everybody's voices, and I think they sound incredible together. Now, in context, this section goes like this. Some beautiful, beautiful harmonies there. Thank you so much for sticking around. That was the breakdown of our song Amen Amwin, available now on all platforms. I'll put a link below. There's also a beautiful film clip. Go check it out. And yeah, thank you so much. Don't forget, like and subscribe the page if you're into this content. I'm just starting out, so it would really help a lot. And if you want to remix this song or you're interested in collaboration, feel free to DM me or reach out. Peace.